So I got memories walking the hallways in my high school, right? I used to wear do-rags back in the day. And of course, they didn't like you wearing do-rags. They didn't like you wearing hats. And I remember there was a particular dean. His name was Dean Chip Bowles. And he would always get on to me, take that hat off, take that hat off, take that do-rag off. And then we would snatch it off, of course. And I remember one day I was like, screw this, I'm running. So I gunned, I just took off because I didn't want to take off my do-rag. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day, I had the braids, I had long hair. They would call me like the sixth member of Bone Thugs and Harmony because, you know, I just had such really, really nice hair back in the day. When I hit about 25 years old, I started losing my hair. Genetics. So I found myself wearing all different type of hats. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what they say? Like, if you wear a lot of hats, it's not just because you like hats, it's probably something that you're trying to hide. And for me, it was the insecurity of losing my hair. You know what I'm saying? Even now, you know, I'm wearing a hat right now, but the reason I'm wearing it right now is because, you know, I'm about to take this off. You know what I'm saying? We're about to take this off. And my wife, you know, she got with me when I was 18 years old, and I had the cornrows, I had the twists, I had all of the hair. And then when I started losing the hair, she never said anything. Like, she never made any comments. She never pointed it out. The only thing she said was that I like it. She said, I like this. She said, I like that right there. Like, this is you. This is you. And the fact that, you know, I was able to be with somebody that didn't point fingers or that didn't laugh, especially out of something that's out of my control, because I'm not the type of guy to go out here and to get hair transplants. I'm not gonna put on no toupee or whatever these guys be wearing. Like, I'm just gonna get the Gillette razor and go across my head 3-4 times out of the week because my hair grows really quick. And I never had to do that because, you know, she's always accepted me for me being me. And as I leave my 30s, I'm 39, and I'll be 40 years old in November, I got a lot of things that are going through my mind. There's a lot of thoughts. There's a lot of perspectives that have changed, things that have shifted. And I'm just coming to the realization, like, you know, you are about to cross over into the second half of life, and you need to be proud. You need to be happy, because there's a lot of people I know who I came up with who didn't make it out of their 20s. There's some guys and some young ladies that I know that didn't make it out of their 30s. And here I stand at 39 years old, about to be 40, constantly looking back. Like, constantly looking back at 30, constantly looking back at 25, constantly looking back at 20, constantly looking back at 15. Thus is why I told you all that story about when I was in high school running from Dean Bowles, because I remember it. Have you ever looked at somebody, maybe a man who's probably like 50 plus years old, and you see he dresses like somebody 25 years younger than he is? You know, maybe the pants are sagging, maybe he has a do-rag on, and you can see all of the white and all that stuff, and then you look at him and you kind of just shake your head like, you need to act your age. You need to look your age. You know, what does that mean? Act your age. Look your age. Be proud of where you are, because, you know, in society, unfortunately, growing older or mature, more mature, should I say, it's not something that people celebrate. It's not something that people embrace. That's why we have like Botox available for men and women. That's why we have all of these superficial surgeries that people like to get, to get rid of the wrinkles and to raise up the skin and to do everything to look as perfect and to look as youthful as possible. That's why we got all this stuff now. And for me, I too kind of fell into that mentality of trying to look as young as I possibly can. I remember years ago, I would dye my beard. I would dye it and I would deal with the skin irritation, because I'm allergic to some of the ingredients that are in the hair dye. And I would say, screw it, for about 3-4 days, my skin would be tore up under the beard, but it would be nice and dark and black. And I remember one day I looked in the mirror when I had it, because it was so black. I looked at it, I'm like, this doesn't even look like me. It doesn't even look real because it's so dark. And to me, one of the most ridiculous things is looking at somebody that's like 75, 80 years old and they got hair, but it's completely black. Like, that just looks weird to me. I mean, you got wrinkles, you got age spots, liver spots, and then you got a head of black hair. Like, it just doesn't go together. Like, when you're that age, only white looks right on your head. It's true. I mean, you've seen it. I know you have, and you probably feel the same way. One of the last times I dyed my beard, I had a really bad reaction, and I had to go to the urgent care because I thought my throat was going to close up. And I was like, you know what? Never doing this again. And my wife, she said, don't dye your beard. Leave it just the way it is, because I like it just like that. I like the salt and pepper. I like the smooth head. I like who you are at this point in your life. And when I heard my wife constantly affirm where I am right now and how she's pleased with it, it helped me accept the fact, like, bro, you're getting up there. You're aging, and it is completely okay. It's okay to not be as shredded as you used to be in your 20s. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm in good shape now. I still work out, we still get it in, but I'm not 25 anymore. I'm not chasing that superficial body. I'm more concerned about how I feel. I'm more concerned about vitality. These are the things that I didn't focus on when I was younger, and that's what I want to get into right now. As I age and I get closer to 40, my mentality has shifted so much. Like, I don't care anymore about being shredded. I don't care anymore about what people think about me or what people say about me or how they feel about me. I don't care, because, I am who I am, and I'm just happy to be alive. I'm just happy to be here. I'm just trying to embrace every day, every moment, every year that I'm given upon this earth. Instead of worrying about what other people think or trying to impress other individuals, because I had to sit down and have a one-on-one with myself and say, bro, why do you keep trying to look young? Like, I get my hat, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put my hat on. There's been times I've gone out to places and I will throw an outfit on and I got like a whole bunch of hats, and I would put my hat on, you know what I mean? And I would just go out, put my earrings in. I don't have them in right now. And I'm like, you're trying to look the way you did at 22 years old, 23 years old. Like, you don't have to do that. Like, it's all good, because back then I was superficial. Back then I did care. All I cared about was how I looked. Back then it was about just trying to impress people and stuff. But now, why do I need to try to impress anybody when I have a beautiful family who loves me? I have a wife that loves me unconditionally and is my biggest fan. Like, I really don't have a reason to try to go back in time and bring back something that's fruitless. Like, where I'm at right now is just fine. If and I'm talking to those of you out there who are like 40 years old, close to 40, a little bit after 40, Looking in the rearview mirror is not going to help you enjoy the rest of your life. Keep going forward. Keep looking at yourself and just thanking God, like, okay, yeah, I got some grays in my beard, but I still don't have to look like I'm like a busted can of biscuits. I don't have to look like that. I think some of the problem, honestly, is that there's this negative stigma to when you turn 40 or you reach that middle part of your life, that you're like a used car, and that you're past your prime, and that nothing matters anymore because, oh, you're 40, you're old. That's crazy to me how people think that you're old at 40. Like, they write you off, say you're washed up, start attaching those urban names to you like Unc and stuff. It's so many different terms to try to like hyper age a person just because they're 40. Look, I personally feel that when you hit that 40-year-old mark, that you were in your prime. You were at a point in life to where people will stop and listen to you, that people will respect you. You feel me? You're not so young to where people will be like, what do you really know? You still stay at home with mama and daddy. You're still in college. You haven't really done anything with your life yet. So what information can you give to me? And you're not so old to where people will be like, your thought process is outdated. You forget things all the time. You're bedridden. You're just senior citizen old. Like, 40 is that perfect age. And like, if there was a perfect age, I gotta say 40. Do not believe what society has tried to indoctrinate us with, thinking like when you hit 40, like there's just nothing more you can do, and that you just kind of have to accept what is. Instead of trying to go backwards, and instead of worrying about the future when we get to this point in life, let's embrace it. Let's sit down, maybe with a notebook, and write down all of the experiences in which you've been through in your 20s, in your 30s. Ladies and gentlemen, you have 2 decades of adulthood that you can share with somebody. 2 decades of trial and error that you can share with a young man or a young lady. 2 decades of wisdom that you can just give to somebody. You don't have that at 20. You don't have that at 30. I mean, you may get a little something when you turn 30, but it's not the same as somebody who's turning 40. Most of us who want to seek out somebody for guidance or mentorship, we tend to look for people who have been through some stuff. And 9 times out of 10, this turns out to be people that are older than us, maybe 5 years older, maybe 10 years older. I don't know. But all I know is that when you get to about 40 years old, you don't have time to be thinking about your 20s. You don't have time to be thinking about your 30s. You are it. You are that person that people look up to. You are that individual that people will seek out when they need help, when they need guidance, when they need advice. You're that individual that people look at as a standard when you turn 40. There are some things that I kind of lost interest in when I was in my 20s and in my 30s that I really don't think about much now, and I find myself trying to resurrect those interests, but it's not really working. So I'm just coming to terms like, bro, just let it go. Just let it go. Like, for me, the most important thing in life right now is, my marriage, of course. I got curriculum here. Me and my wife, we are friends with these 2 couples, and we are going through this curriculum here, Kingdom Marriage by Tony Evans. And it's an amazing amazing book that basically, gives us the full biblical illustration of what marriage is. Because I have a heart for individuals that are married, and especially here in the United States of America, the divorce rate is 70%, and out of that 70%, 50% of them are like self-proclaiming Christians. And of course, we stay with the Word of God with us, no doubt. And these are things that I didn't think about when I was in my early 30s. These were things I didn't think about when I was in my 20s. More, what do you call it, grown man stuff. Am I saying that we just gotta retire the fitted hats and the chains and the earrings? I'm not saying you gotta retire any of that stuff. I'm not saying that you can't dress the way you want to dress, but I think that at some point we all reach this pinnacle of life to where we know that we're not who we used to be, and maybe it's just time to shift things a little bit differently based upon the season that we're in right now. My desire is to inspire young men. That's what I want to do, and it's going to be very hard for me to do that if I look just like them. You know what I'm saying? That people look at me and they can't tell whether I'm 39 or 29, because please and believe, if I shave this off, I will easily look 28, 29 years old, and my wife's like, you're not doing that. You need to stay right where you are. I love you the way you are. People look up to you. She's, like I said, she's always pouring into me. But that's my goal. I want to see a better society, and a better society starts with stronger, more masculine, better men. But young men don't know what that looks like unless the older men step up and be the example and be the standard for them to look at, the template, so to speak, for them to emulate in this life. And that's where I am right now at the age of 39. These are the things that I'm thinking about before I turn 40 at the end of the year. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous, but at the same time, I'm excited. I am happy, that God has brought me this far, and I just can't wait to see what the future holds. And when I hit 40, we'll be talking about 45, and then we'll be talking about 50, because once again, I remember being in high school, and like that was yesterday, and here I am now, 39 years old, about to turn 40. Look, how old are you? I want to know. How are you coping with your aging? Are you terrified? Are you excited? Are you happy? Are you blessed? Because I know everybody is different, and everybody processes it differently. Some people struggle with getting older or aging, so to speak. Some people hate it. And then there are some people who are in love with the process. I personally feel like we should be in love with it, because the alternative to aging is not being alive anymore. What are your thoughts? Peace.